LearnBiz LLC is an entrepreneur coaching agency which customizes solutions to help businesses grow and thrive in an ever-changing economy.
You are listening to LearnBiz The Podcast, where we share an entrepreneur's journey and allow you to obtain insight into their path to success. We're here to educate other entrepreneurs about the ins and outs of running a small business, and we will provide you with tips and resources that can help you along your entrepreneurial journey.
Music selection, Midnight Silhouette by Devon, Wright.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for joining us on LearnBiz The Podcast.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
Go ahead and get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a conceptual artist and painter. I like to paint images of like the activists, like old activists, some landscape every now and then, a lot of portraiture, and just basically just all around the experience.
So you're a true artist in the term of the word itself. When did you get started in art?
I started painting about 5 years ago, but I've always been somewhat into art, like even since I was young. I used to always draw and color and such, but I didn't start actually painting until about 5 years ago.
So how did you decide to take this passion for the art and make it into a business?
Okay, so around the same time, or a little bit before, I had just quit my job, and I was just trying stuff, and I ended up making some Kwanzaa gifts for some family, and they were like, "Yo, you should sell these. You should market these." And then I just started painting, and it worked out well.
So in terms of the business in the world of art, what types of things do you put out there as a business?
Everything. So, I paint, so obviously I sell original paintings, I sell prints. I have apparel like t-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that. I also have a book. It's also got my artwork in there. Sorry, this one's a little banged up. It's been traveling with me for some time. So
What's the name of your book?
the book is called The Depth of Still Water. So it's like a poetry book, but it's also got like images of my artwork.
In terms of, you know, you have the book, you have a lot of goods that you've created yourself in terms of utilizing your artwork. When you think about the word entrepreneur and your process in getting this business going, what are some things that you really learned along the way in doing the business?
The number one thing I've learned is that um, your biggest supporters don't know you. They're going to be complete strangers and they're just going to fall in love with whatever you have going on. Because I think that a lot of times when we start out on our own, trying to make revenue for ourselves, we're depending on like friends and family to like see the vision. And sometimes it's just for us to see. Maybe they need some time to, get on board, but you can't wait for them. So you have to keep pushing and putting yourself out there so that your tribe or whoever your product is for can get wind and get on board.
I'm really glad that you mentioned that because a lot of times when people are just starting out in business, it's kind of like we think that, friends and family will be our first source. So, how did the pandemic affect your whole business process? Like, did it help it? Did it hurt it?
Well, I like to think that there's balance in everything, right? So I just posted yesterday because I have my show coming up. Um, but really, I initially wanted to have something last year, but because of the pandemic, it kind of threw a monkey wrench in that situation. And
Right.
so a lot of artists had to kind of figure out different ways to market themselves because during that time, I had been going to a lot of shows and showing my artwork that way, doing like just basically like art shows or like any little event that they needed like artwork and stuff like that, I would be there. And so with the pandemic, that stopped a lot of the gatherings that were happening. So it was really hard. I mean, outside of like social media, of course, um, it was really hard to get your stuff out there and be able to make money outside of, posting your artwork online and such.
And did you find
So
that
and
shift? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's how the book came along, right? Because I wanted to have a show and I wasn't able to. So I said I'll just publish some of my artwork in a book. But then
Right.
when I was putting everything together, the ones that I actually like wasn't enough to make like a substantial book. So um I always write like little little poetry and stuff, but I never really took it serious. And then I was like, well, I could just couple it with the images to make
Nice.
it, add a little razzle dazzle. And that's what I did.
I like the little sprinkle. You got to put the razzle dazzle on it. Um,
Yeah.
so in terms of you thought to yourself, the pandemic is slowing down what I would normally do. So you shifted gears, you did the book. How did you also
Mhm.
utilize social media in terms of really getting your artwork out there?
So during the pandemic, I did a series, like I told you, I like to make like social activists and stuff like that. So I did a
Right.
series on just strictly activists. So I did Steve Biko, Marcus Garvey, Khalid Abdul Muhammad. I did Patrice Lumumba and um, Winnie Mandela.
Nice.
And that was able to, even though the original pieces didn't sell, um, just from people like sharing and posting and stuff like that.
Right.
There was this one page that reposted me. It's a particularly big page, but I can't remember what it's called right now. And
Gotcha.
from that repost, I got a lot of commissions. Also, Khalid Abdul Muhammad's son actually saw one of my paintings and reposted, and I got a lot of commissions from that as well. So,
Oh
um,
wow.
yeah, so sometimes you just have to keep pushing. Like even when you don't really see how it's gonna work out, you just put yourself out there and the stars align and it just works out for you.
That's amazing, and I appreciate that you talked about that in terms of pushing forward. So, if you were to give
Mhm.
some advice to someone who's just getting started, they're an artist, they want to lean into the business side of being an artist, what would be some things that you would share with them?
For a new artist that wants to make their work a business,
Yes.
um, first, number one, stop giving away your artwork. I know a lot of times when we first start, when we first start, you have your friends, you have your family, they're like, oh, can you please just make this painting?
Right.
And you just like, okay, because you just feel like you can and you want to make people feel nice and stuff like that. But
Right.
people don't value what they can get for free,
True.
if that makes any sense. Yeah, so
True.
and then it's also hard. So like say for instance your cousin is like, "Oh, well, let me get this artwork." And then your cousin has a friend and they're like, "Oh, well, I like a piece too, but you got it for free." So now I don't feel like I should have to pay $500 for what you
Uh,
got for free. It kind of
right.
diminishes the value. So,
True.
yeah, put a price tag on it and put a sufficient price tag on
Look, I will not disagree with you there. I absolutely
it.
agree. So, Laura, you said you have a show coming up. Tell us a little bit about this show and how people can, attend.
Okay, so it's my first solo show. I'm super excited. It's going to be on Martin Luther King weekend, that Sunday, so
Okay.
January 16th.
Okay.
Um, and it's going to be, so it's called Eden, and the subtitle is Matriarchs of the Movement. So
Oh, wow.
when you think about, yeah, so when you think about Eden, you think about a sort of paradise, right? So I have it broken up into diasporas, right? So it's going to be, so I have one section is North America. So I have like certain events that have happened in the past that I kind of recreated myself
Right.
to show what it might look like um if we were like self-reliant in a sense. Like say for instance, I'll give you an example. Um I recreated Rosewood, right? And
Right.
so but not in the sense of that it got burned down in the Great Migration and all this, but like in a sense of like people were still living there, or were able to take care of themselves, able to
Right.
doctor themselves, educate themselves, feed themselves and stuff like that. And so I did that, and then in another breath, for the matriarchs of the movement, I have like women freedom fighters, like so just portraits of women freedom fighters in what I would consider to be like their essence.
Nice.
And then I did that for each. So I have for North America, I have for the Caribbean, and I have for the continent, Africa. And so
Right.
that's basically the blueprint for each um, category.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're definitely appreciating someone young like you really stepping into their passion. Um, any final words that you would have when you think about entrepreneurship and your path to getting to where you are right now? What are some last words that you would have for our listeners?
Don't get in your own way. A lot of times I think that we're so used to how we've been going about things that it's hard for us to see a new way, and sometimes that new way is what's going to catapult you to the next level. And
Right.
so I would just say be open to change, and be open to learning new things and working with new people. I know that's probably one of my bigger, or was one of my bigger issues, is that I'm like really introverted. I'm not like a big networker per se.
Right.
And being an entrepreneur, everybody knows you have to talk to people, you have to make connections and things like that. So
Right.
um yeah, basically just don't get in your own way. Do what has to be done.
That is some great advice, and definitely appreciate you for that. So, how do people connect with you, get some of your artwork, sign up for, attending your show that's coming up? Share your contact information.
Okay, so you can RSVP for the show coming up at arthouse by Laura.com/Eden. And you can RSVP, put your email address, your name, and it's basically just an email list, so you just keep up that way. And obviously, you can follow me on social media. Again, the Instagram is naturally_Laura_Ann. Facebook is Laura Knight, and my email is lauraknight11@yahoo.com, and you have it here. So perfect.
Thank you so much, Laura. Please give us that RSVP link one more time, and we definitely appreciate you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, for sure. So it's Art House by Laura. Art ART House HOUSE by Laura.com/Eden EDEN.
Thank you so much, Laura. We look forward to hearing an update on your show. I think Eden is going to be an amazing experience, and we appreciate you for being on Learn Biz, the podcast.
All right, thank you so much, Sandy. You take care.
Likewise.
Music selection, Midnight Silhouette by Devon, Wright.
Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.